In 1968, a Swiss hotelier wrote a book that convinced 7 million people that aliens built the pyramids. He was wrong. But the real reason ancient humans mastered the stars is stranger than his theory ever was. The book was called Chariots of the Gods. Its author, Erich von Daniken, looked at what ancient civilizations achieved and decided there was only one explanation. They had help from somewhere else entirely. The book was translated into more than 30 languages and inspired documentaries, TV specials, and an entire genre of programming that still airs today. Even people who've never read a page of it recognize the theory by name. Let's actually test that claim, starting with the first piece of evidence its believers always lead with.
Across the ancient world, cultures made staggering leaps in astronomy, almost independently of each other, using nothing but the naked eye and the horizon. Babylonians cataloged eclipses on clay tablets centuries before telescopes existed. Egyptians aligned entire pyramid shafts to exact stars. The Maya built calendars mapped to the rhythm of the cosmos, accurate enough that modern astronomers still check their math against it. 3 continents, no contact with each other, no ships between their coastlines, no shared alphabet, just 3 separate groups of humans staring at the same sky, arriving at the same answer. Von Daniken said that was too convenient to be coincidence, that someone must have handed our ancestors this knowledge directly. It's a compelling claim. Here's the second piece of evidence, and where it runs into a problem. Take the megaliths, Egypt's pyramids, Easter Island's Moai. The theory says stone structures like these couldn't have been built with copper tools and manpower alone. The stones weigh as much as loaded freight trucks, and some of them were dragged for miles before ever being lifted into place. Archaeologists have found the actual quarries these stones came from, the ramps, the tools, even the workers' villages, complete with payroll records. Starting in 1978, Egyptologist Mark Lehner ran a series of experiments building scaled-down structures using only tools available in antiquity, ropes, wooden sledges, and organized teams of laborers to prove the process actually worked in practice, not just in theory. The blocks moved. The theory didn't survive contact with the desert. Calling it impossible without alien help doesn't just contradict the evidence. It erases documented human genius. The buildings we can still walk through and check. The third piece of evidence is harder to dismiss so easily. The symbols. Fiery chariots in the Bible, flying machines described in Indian scripture, carvings worldwide showing figures in what look, at a glance, like helmets. The most famous is a stone sarcophagus lid found in Mexico, carved for a Maya king named Pakal. Out of context, it does look almost like a man piloting some kind of craft. It's the actual cover image of von Daniken's book. But Maya epigraphers have spent decades reading that carving against hundreds of similar ones, using a written language we've since learned to translate. It isn't an unidentified vehicle. It's a king descending into the underworld beneath the world tree, a scene that repeats across Maya art in a visual language we can now read fluently. Biblical and Sanskrit scholars find the same pattern in their own texts, established religious imagery, not eyewitness technical manuals. The same logic gets applied to the Nazca Lines in Peru, massive geoglyphs etched into the desert floor, visible only from the air. Von Daniken argued they must have been landing strips for spacecraft. The leading archaeological explanation, backed by footprints worn directly into the ground alongside them, is that they were ritual walking paths. Not every detail of their purpose is settled, but a landing strip for a species that never needed a runway isn't the explanation the evidence points to. It never needed to. We're reading our century into theirs, which leaves one real question. If nobody handed our ancestors this knowledge, how did people with no telescopes work out the exact rhythm of the cosmos entirely on their own? That's the actual mystery worth chasing. Not who visited us, but how far we got completely alone. Historians classify the ancient astronaut theory as pseudoscience, not for lack of imagination, but because it collapses the moment you check it against evidence we can actually verify. It's not dismissed because scientists find the idea insulting. It's dismissed because every time someone checks a specific claim against a specific dig site, the claim quietly falls apart, while the achievement underneath it holds up completely. That doesn't make our ancestors' relationship with the stars less remarkable. It makes it more. The Babylonians predicted eclipses centuries in advance, using nothing but decades of patient record-keeping passed down through generations. Greek astronomers calculated that the Earth was a sphere and built the Antikythera mechanism, a 2,000-year-old bronze device pulled from a shipwreck in the Aegean, with gears precise enough to predict eclipses down to the day. It sat on the ocean floor for 2,000 years before anyone even realized what they'd found. In China, the Dunhuang Star Atlas mapped over 1,000 individual stars by hand, centuries before the invention of the telescope. Across the Pacific, Polynesian navigators crossed thousands of miles of open ocean using only star positions, wave patterns, and the flight paths of birds. No spacecraft required anywhere in any of it. No help from beyond the stars. Just observation, mathematics, and stubbornness, sustained for thousands of years across civilizations that never once spoke to each other. Think about what that theory actually asks you to trade away. Real names, real workers, centuries of trial and error, patience and failure, all of it erased in exchange for a shortcut that was never true to begin with. So the next time you look up at a clear night sky, remember this. Nobody built that connection between you and the stars above you. Every civilization that ever mapped them did it themselves, one careful measurement at a time, with nothing but patience and the sky, entirely alone. That's not a lesser story. It's the only one that's actually true.